Hello viewers, I am Dr. KSR Radhika, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SRKR Engineering College, Bhimavaram, Andhra Pradesh. In this session, I am going to explain about message queues, mailboxes and pipes that can be used for shared data problems in embedded systems. The objectives of today's session are to understand about message queues, to explore the mailboxes, to know about pipes. So in the previous session, we have already seen semaphores in detail. So now in this session, we will see the other alternative methods for sharing shared data problems. So another alternative is message queues. Message, whenever the task wants to communicate between one another, so there will be some shared data, so they have to use the shared data in more than one task. So in such a type of situations, in the previous sessions we have already seen how the problem arises with the shared data. So and also we have seen how we can solve the problem using semaphores. Now we will see how we can solve the problem using message queues. So queues can be used for uh, for for solving this shared data problem. So in order to use the message queues, that is already we have seen different embedded system applications, that is in underground tank monitoring system, how the gasoline level has been shared between the two tasks, that is the we calculate task and the another one is button task. So because of that one, we are getting the shared data problem. So how you can solve this shared data problem using message queues? So first of all, whenever if you want to use the message queue, so first of all you have to create a queue and you have to initialize the queue. So after initializing the queue, you have to allocate the memory. So if you want, you can also use multiple queues as similarly to multiple semaphores. So if you are using more number of queues, so you should identify which queue must be used for which data. So that is very much important. That is the identification of the queue. And also various systems do in various ways this multiple queues. And another one is one thing you have to remember here is whenever you are reading or writing onto the queue, you will get the problems of queue is full and also sometimes the queue is empty. You will get the problems. So whenever suppose if the queue is full, so you can return and so that can be solved in two ways. That is either you can return an error that the queue is full, or you can also use a method, that is you can block the task until other task reads the data from the queue. Suppose if other task reads the data from the queue, then again the queue will have some empty space again to write a new message onto the queue. So until then that particular task will be blocked. So another one is reading from the queue. So whenever you are reading from the queue, suppose if the data is ready, so directly the data can be written. Another one, suppose if the queue is empty. If the queue is empty. So if the queue is empty, either you can return an error code or you can block the task that is trying to read from the queue. So because the queue is empty. So you can either return an error code or you can block it, suppose if the queue is empty. But if it has the data, directly you can return the data. And another one is, another important point you have to consider in message queues is, so the amount of data that is being used. So here whenever you are using some amount of data, the number of bytes taken up by a wide pointer is the amount of data that can be used in the case of message queues. So this is the example that already we have discussed in the previous sessions. So where we are trying to increment the C errors which is being called between two different tasks, task 1 and task 2. Here we have two different tasks, that is task 1 and task 2. So, and this is the main task, that is here we are giving static int C errors. So initial value of the C errors in the previous sessions we have already seen this particular example with some values. So now here we are again seeing the same problem. How we are getting the problem? That is the shared data. So here C errors is a static int variable which will be stored in some fixed location of your memory. So this C errors, this particular variable is being incremented here. So then what happens is, because this becomes the shared data. So what happens is, here you will get the problem of shared data. So this can be solved by using message queues. So here if you see, the RTOS queue function prototypes are given. So whenever if you want to use the message queues, already I told that first of all you have to initialize the message queue, and also you one more thing you have to do is you have to allocate the memory for the message queue. So those two things must be done. So suppose if the queue has been created and also the memory has been allocated, so here you need two different functions of your RTOS queue. Those are add to queue, that is if you want to write something onto the queue, then you will use this function add to queue. So this is the number of bytes that can be added onto the queue. And another one is read from the queue. So now this is the pointer that reads from the queue the particular data, the pointer to the data. So, and here we have two different tasks. So if any problem arises, so then what we are doing, we want to write it on to the queue. So we log errors, error type for task 1 it is X. So then what will happen? So it will come to this function and it will add to the queue that some error type, that is X. So for task 2, similarly, we are giving the error type as Y. So that will be also be added to the queue. So now for suppose if you take this void errors task, so here what we are trying to do, we are trying to read from the queue one by one that has been written onto the queue. So read from the queue the error type. So after reading the error type, we are incrementing the C errors because already we have encountered one error. So this is reading from the queue and this is writing onto the queue. So you can use message queues in such a way that you can solve the problem of shared data. So instead of both the functions trying to access the same data, so then you can use the message queues. So another example is, so whenever you are using the pointers, you should be very careful that the pointers whenever you are using the pointers and the queues, so the same task, the same problem, the same previous problem whatever we have explained now, it has been elaborated with the pointers. So if you see here RTOS queue function prototypes, they just we have given, that is simply a function, just we have given only the prototype. So here we are giving it in detail. So OS event, so this is the create function, so that is the queue create function. And then this is the post and pend. Post and pend are, post is for writing on to the queue and pend is for reading from the queue. So these are the two reading and writing functions. And this is the queue. So this is the queue that has been created, POS queue, POS EQ, and this is the queue size. So 25 is the queue size, and here we are initializing a pointer. So now if you see here in the main task, First of all, you have to create the queue. So here, first of all, we are creating the queue, and then we are starting the task 1 and then the task 2. So these two are the functions, whatever we have seen in the previous example. So now what we are trying to do here, we are elaborating this vlog errors function. So here it is right. So we, first of all, we are taking byte by return. So this is the return code from the from writing to the queue. So now we want to write on to the queue, that is, that has been sent by this task 1 and task 2. So what we are doing, so we are writing on to the queue, we are writing on to the queue, that is POS EQ. So this will write the error type. So suppose if it is task 1 means it will write the error type as X, and the if it is task 2 means it will write the error type as Y. So now it will write on to the queue. So by return. So after writing, so the after completing the writing on to the queue, it will return the return code from writing on to the queue. So now you can check this return code. So suppose if this is not equal to an error, so that is handle this. Suppose if that means some error has been occurred, like the queue may be full. Suppose if the queue is full, you will be unable to write the data. So if you have some problems like that means, then it has to handle the situation. So this is somewhat elaborated than the previous example. So here in this one also we are elaborating how to read from the queue. So here also, while reading from the queue, you are returning an I error type. That is, the I error type is, it will return the error type. So after that, you are incrementing the value, and then you are sending the C errors and the error type onto the network. So specifying what is the error and also incrementing the errors. So this is how you can use the pointers along with the queues. So now we will see how you can use the pointers along with the queues with the example, that is nuclear reactor. So already this nuclear reactor this example has also been explained in the previous sessions many times, depending upon that particular topic. So here we will explain that one with queues. So here in the case of nuclear reactor application, you will have two different tasks. One is read temperatures task, and another one is checking the temperatures task. So first of all, here we will see how it will write the temperatures onto the queue. So that's why here we are writing the main task. So here what we are doing. So first of all, here you have to create the queue. So first of all, OS event OS queue create. So this is the function prototype that will create the queue for your application. And this is OSQ post is the function prototype for writing on to the queue, and OSQ pend is the uh, prototype function prototype to read from the queue. So now here if you see in the nuclear reactor example, the temperatures, read temperatures task and the main task are sharing the data, that is the temperature that is being read in the read temperatures task at two different locations. So whenever it is reading the temperatures, and whenever it is saving the temperatures onto the variable, what is happening is, it in between, suppose if the main task is being called, then what happens, because it is of high priority, so that's why you are getting the wrong values. So that is, for example, if you take here the read temperatures task, so a pointer is taken here, and in the continuous loop, what we are doing is we are trying to read the temperatures. If you want to read the temperatures, first of all, it is allocating some memory for this P temperatures variable. So it is allocating the memory, how much memory that it wants, that is to read the two temperatures, and that is given as a pointer to your P temperatures. So this is the pointer now. So now what you are doing for this P temperatures of 0 and P temperatures of 1, you are reading the values from the hardware at two different locations. So now you have the temperatures in P temperatures. That is, you will have two temperatures. So now what you will do is you will add this temperatures pointer to your Q. So now what you are doing, you are adding the temperatures pointer onto your Q with OSQ post. So that means what? You are writing onto the Q. So in the previous examples already I told that what is the problem that will occur is, suppose if after reading the P temperatures of 0, suppose if this task is called, so then what will happen? This P temperatures of 0 will have the latest value and P temperatures of 5 will have the old value. So then there will be difference in the temperatures. So which is wrong. So that's why here we are restricting that by using the Qs. So we are writing it on to the Qs, that is the P temperatures. So in the main task, what we are, again we are declaring the P temperatures variable here also as a local variable, and to this P temperatures variable, you are reading from the Q. So OSQ pend. So it is giving the temperatures, that is this P, whatever that has been written onto the Q, that is being given to P temperatures of this task. So now what happens? You will get both the, either you will get either the new value or the old value. So which will be equal. So then you don't get the problem, and finally you are releasing the this P temperatures variable. You are freeing that variable. So this is how you can perform the, you can use the Qs along with the pointers. So this is the example how we are using the Qs in the nuclear reactor application while sharing the data, that is the temperatures data between the read temperatures task and the main task. And the next one is mailboxes. So another alternative that can be used for solving the shared data problem is mailboxes. You can also use mailboxes for solving the problem of shared data. So the different functions that are that can be used for mailboxes are create, write to the mailbox, and read from the mailbox, and check whether the mailbox contains any messages, and also you can destroy the mailbox. So like this, these are the functions, and so on. Some other functions are also available. So you can use these functions in order to solve the problem of shared data in your embedded system applications. So whenever you are using these mailboxes, details of mailboxes are different in different RTOS. Some variations are, some mailboxes allow only one message. So the number of messages you have, that will be different with different RTOS. So some RTOS allows only one message. So you can read or write only one message onto the mailbox. And another type is number of messages, that is the limit on the total number of messages in all the mailboxes. So so here the number of messages in each mailbox is unlimited, but there is a limit to the total number of messages that can be in all the mailboxes in the system. So they will be distributed into individual mailboxes as they are needed. So this is another thing that you can do with that is the limit is there on the total number of messages. And another one is you can also prioritize the mailbox messages. You can give the priorities to the mailbox messages. So whenever if you give the priorities, high priority message will be given the priority first. So for example, if you take a multitask system, each message is a void pointer. First you have to create all of the mailboxes when we configure the system. Then only we can use the functions that you can use the different functions for creating, writing and reading. All these functions can be used for either reading or writing. So you can use the different functions for solving the problem of shared data. So now, so we will see the different mailbox functions. So these are the mailbox functions. Send message, SND message. So send message. It is a mailbox function that is used to add the P underscore V message into the queue. So here this is the message. This is the message, and this is the this is the mail. This identifies the mailbox, that is the mailbox ID, and this is the pointer to the message. This is the pointer to the message, and this priority is the priority of the message. So here this function, what it will do is it will add this message onto the queue with ID this is the ID of your mailbox. So this identifies this particular ID identifies the mailbox with U priority. So its priority is U priority. Or it may also return, suppose if there are too many messages pending in your mailbox, so then it may return error if it is invalid or too many messages. So if you have too many messages or if it is invalid, it will return an error. And the next one is RCV message. So this RCV message is it is a message it is a message that is this function will return high priority message or block the called function if the mailbox is empty. So here this is the mailbox ID, and this is the time, that is how much time it has to wait for the message. Suppose if the mailbox is empty, so how much time it has to wait for the message. So it specifies the time. And another one is chk message. So this is another function that can be used. This function returns the first message in the mailbox, or otherwise it will return null if the mailbox is empty. So it will return the first message, or it will return null if the mailbox is empty. So this is how you can use the mailboxes in your applications. And the next one is another alternative is you can also use pipes. So pipes can also be used for solving the problem of shared data. So these are also like queues. The pipes are also almost similar like queues. So RTOS here it has the functions. For pipes you have the functions create pipes, perform read or write operations. So these operations can be done on pipes. So details of pipes vary from RTOS to RTOS. So it will be different from RTOS to RTOS. And also one more thing is here whenever the pipe here the pipes are byte oriented. So for example, suppose what is meant by byte oriented is, so it can so if you take can write the messages of varying lengths. Here we say that it can write messages of varying lengths onto the pipes, which is not possible in mailboxes and queues, because these message lengths are fixed in the case of queues and mailboxes. But in the case of pipes, you can write messages of varying lengths. So suppose for example, if you take that is because here we say that this is byte oriented. Suppose if task A writes 11 bytes to the pipe, and then task B writes 19 bytes to the pipe. So till now, how many bytes are there in your pipe? So 11 plus 19, that is 13 bytes is available in your pipe. So now suppose if task C writes 14 bytes from the pipe, then what will happen? Totally you have how many bytes? You have 30 bytes. But now task C is asking for how many bytes? It is asking for 14 bytes. So then what will happen is it will get the 11 bytes that has been written by task A, and the remaining 3 bytes it will get from the task B, that is whatever the task B has written. So that means what, totally how many bytes it got? So 11 from task A and 3 from task B. So that means it got its 14 bytes from the pipe. So the total is how much? 30 bytes. So out of 30 bytes already we have read 14 bytes. So how much is left in your pipe? So 30 minus 14. So that's why the 16 bytes is left in your pipe. So the other 16 bytes that the task B wrote remain in the, so this 16 byte is written by which task? So 3 has been used by task C. So this 16 bytes is written by task B. Wrote remains in the pipe for whatever task reads from it the next time. So this is how the pipes will work. So here we say that the pipes are byte oriented. So which is not possible in the case of mailboxes and queues. And some RTOS uses the standard C library functions, that is fread and fwrite. So fread and fwrite functions to read and write from pipes. So this can also, some RTOS also uses these two functions for reading and writing onto the pipes. So some important key points you have to know are programming trade-offs among flexibility, speed, memory, space, the length of the time that interrupts must be disabled. And another point is task must use correct one. So whenever you are using this mailbox or queue or pipes, the task must use, suppose if it needs mailbox, then it should use only mailbox. So if it needs queue means it should use only queue. So that means it should use the correct one each time. And also the data written must be properly interpreted. So for example, if it reads integer data and treats it as a pointer, then it will become a problem. So that means the data must be correctly interpreted. And also one more thing you have to remember, you have to consider is running out of memory space. One important point you have to consider is you should consider about the running space. That is because whenever if you are using your embedded in embedded system applications, the memory is very limited. So if the memory is limited, then what will happen? So you should be very careful that, so it should not, you should not run out of the memory space. And another one is passing pointers should be done carefully. So whenever you are passing the pointers from one task to another, so you should be very careful that you are using correctly, that is you are using the pointers correctly. So this problem can be explained with this example. So this is the example just now we have seen, where we are using a malloc function for allocating the memory to this temperatures variable. So suppose if you use the malloc function for allocating the memory to this temperatures variable, so then, so the pointer that is passed, so from one task to another, you will get the problem. So that's why what you have to do is, so this so here it is using, so this code, so whatever code you have seen previously, there you are using the malloc function. So that code has a serious bug. When the main task gets a value for p temperatures from the queue, the p temperatures will point to I temperatures array in the vread temperatures task. So if the RTOS switches from main task to vread temperatures task, while main task was comparing the temperatures, and if the vread temperatures task changes the values of high temperatures, then again we have the shade data bug. So that can be solved. So never use the same buffer at the same time. It can be solved by, so you should not use the same buffer at the same time. So that can be solved like this. So this is how you can use the pipes in your embedded system applications. So in this session, we have explained about the message queues and mailboxes and also the pipes. So if you like my video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.